silence that amounts to one horse and 6,000 pesos, a tradition that is upheld by the indigenous people of South Cotabato. It is said to keep the community united and to stop conflict. In exchange for the cries of justice of women that experience continuous sexual assault. Due to extreme poverty, they had no choice but to settle and hide in silence. Hello everyone, and today we're gonna report the analysis of Kapalit ng Katahimikan, which was shown in Eyewitness and was reported by Cara David. And today, our goals and objectives are to shed light to injustices experienced by women and especially by women in secluded areas, to acquire knowledge on how to respectfully approach victims of sexual abuse. Next is to identify gaps and provide possible equitable solutions that promote the wellness and security of women. And magsa-start tayo sa in answering the question, which is what are the ethical dilemmas that were encountered and was it resolved?
Okay, so the ethical dilemma faced in the documentary was the prevalence of sexual abuse and the tension between respecting cultural practices in the country, specifically tribal settlements, while advocating for justice for the victims. So, the reporter Cara David exposed the systemic injustice where the victims of sexual abuse, particularly, were pressured into silence and not press charges in exchange of settlements. So these settlements were endorsed and made by tribal councils to preserve the so-called peace in the community. So in answering the question, was the ethical issue or dilemma resolved? So the documentary shows that at least one case of sexual abuse were resolved, as the perpetrator was imprisoned despite threats and pressure and attempts at the tribal council. So this shows that even though these old tribal practices remain prevalent, pursuing justice has now been more prevalent. So however, the documentary highlights that many cases still lead to tribal agreements due to many different factors such as cultural norms and fear, showing that the system where the issue lies still remains very much intact.
Thank you, Mr. Alejandrino. Next is what were the observed considerations, ethical considerations, and how was it applied?
Well, one of the most ethical principles upheld in this documentary is the protection of victims' privacy and dignity. We have the Republic Act 10173 or the Data Privacy Act of 2012 that safeguards the personal information of individuals, including victims from a crime. Moreover, the National Privacy Commission emphasizes a responsible sharing of personal data on social media platforms to prevent exploitation. Cara David made a conscious choice not to interview the young survivors, a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old, on camera. Instead, she used written accounts and showed them playing, preserving their anonymity while still allowing their voices to be heard. This decision reflects the ethical obligation to prioritize the well being of vulnerable subjects over dramatic storytelling. The documentary also challenges cultural practices that may silence victims of peace. Cara David critically examines how some cases in Maguindanao are resolved through tribal settlements, where financial compensation replaces legal justice. She raises an important question. Does this tradition protect the community at the expense of the victim's right? So in here, the tribal councils acted as mediators, facilitating a conversation from two sides to reach a mutually agreeable resolutions to the crime. By consulting social workers and experts, Kara ensured that her reporting was not just ethical but also informed by professional insights. This collaboration strengthened the documentary's credibility and reinforced its commitment to responsible journalism. Through careful storytelling, respect for victims, and critical examination of cultural norms, Kapalit ng Katahimikan proves that ethical journalism can be powerful without being exploitative. It reminds us that the truth must be told, but never at the cost of humanity.
Thank you, Ms. Alvarez. Next is what were the ethical considerations that were not observed?
So, answering letter C, the first question is, what were the ethical considerations that were not observed in reporting the issue? And what were the reasons for not observing this ethical consideration? So we think that the reasons of the interview for not observing the ethical consideration is that they want to capture dramatic or emotional scenes for the engagement and views, relieving the trauma of the survivors. According to Vierbel and Koch, the nature of the journalist's work most often requires complex navigation of ethical consideration when seeking critical information, and they may be instances when they need to push boundaries to obtain their objectives in their journalism. Even though it is very minor in this interview, when Kara is interviewing the mother of the victim and she stopped, she's still reliving the trauma of the mother because of this interview. Second is, which part of the report specifically disregarded the ethical consideration? The parts of the report where they specifically disregarded the ethical consideration is where they showed the victim and its newborn child. So how do we know if they got consent properly if the victim has a mental health condition that she is facing? Also, even though they blurred the mother's face, they didn't blur the mother's baby. Is it the best interest for the child to be shown in the interview or just to show it to the public for the engagement? According to CONCAR 2024, the disclosure of children's personal information like the date of birth, location, name, etc. will make them at risk, and anyone with malicious intent can use it. So even if the intent of the report is to show empathy to the family and create a hope because of Kara's words, it is unnecessary to show the face to the public, and there are a lot of ways for it to be accomplished.
In addition to that, the ethical considerations that were not observed, I'll be summarizing what Jamie said earlier. So we'll talk about first the cultural sensitivity. So while the documentary, questioned and just tribal decisions or customs, it did not deeply engage with the cultural context in a way that balanced criticism with respect. So there's a fine line between exposing harmful practices and potentially reinforcing outsider judgment on indigenous communities. So this approach could have benefited from more culturally um, sensitive framing family, especially when dealing with centuries old traditions. And then second that was discussed earlier was the non-maleficence or avoiding harm. So there were moments when we watched the documentary, there were moments that the trauma actually bring back to the victims. So for example, the interview when interviewing the mother of a victim, so the interview visibly caused emotional distress. We can actually really see it in the documentary, and it was captured in front of the camera. Additionally, the face of a newborn, like what you said earlier, belonging to a mentally challenged victim, which was Dolores, was shown without blurring. So this raises the concern, like, was this exposure necessary or could it bring further harm? Um, Additionally, we have the third one, which is the informed consent. So, although the documentary blurred the faces and changed the names of the victims, it wasn't clear whether informed consent was obtained, especially for minors and mentally challenged individuals like Dolores. So, given their condition, it's unlikely they fully understood the consequences of sharing their stories publicly. And even if the consent was given by guardians or community leaders, the question remains, was it ethically sufficient and informed? So why do we, as a group, why do we think that these ethical lapses have occurred? So we think that there are several reasons regarding this matter, and number one is the team may have assumed implicit consent from adults or the local authorities. Second is there may have been a sense of urgency to expose abuse and prevent further harm. And then third is cultural and logistical barriers in remote areas may have limited awareness or practice of formal media ethics. So to summarize things up and to wrap this report, despite these lapses, we still believe that the documentary Kapalit ng Katahimikan by Cara David is ethical in intention. So it aimed to protect the vulnerable, spark justice, and confront silence surrounding abuse. However, good intentions must always be matched with responsible ethical execution. And yeah, I believe that this concludes our analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Miss Pamalduan and Mr. Alves. And lalo na ngayon na election day, I do hope na we push for more legislations that are equitable, especially for women. And that's all. Thank you.